This entitled customer is about to stalk this employee on a first date simply because they didn't give them the service they wanted. What crazy excuse does she come up with to justify this outrageous behavior? Happy birthday, today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show. So I used to work at a department store chain that has since gone bankrupt. The final months of the store being open were especially the hardest, because rundown stores attract interesting people to say the least. I worked in the apparel department, and most of the time my work was easy. However, there's one particular day that sticks out to me. I get called down to the register for a price check. A woman is buying a homecoming dress for her daughter, and she's telling the cashier that it's $15.99, not $35.99. I go up there and scan the tag with my scanner, only to see that it indeed does ring up $35.99. Okay, cool, sometimes our signage could be incorrect, so I walked back over to the apparel to check. The rack that particular dress was on had a sign that said, "Any dress priced $14.99, now on clearance for only $15.99. Not the exact prices, but you get the idea. The dress this woman was holding was on the same rack, but on the opposite side, in which everything was normal price, as the sign on that side explains. I pull out my store phone and call the register and tell the cashier. She says okay, and I move on to something else. After hanging up, I hear screaming coming from the registers, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this woman and her daughter storming over to me. Pretending not to see them, I try to hide myself, because this was the last thing I wanted to deal with. "Ma'am, can I speak with you?" "Yes, how can I help you?" "It says right there that these dresses here are $15.99. All the dresses on the side here are on sale for that price, but that particular dress is on the other side here, and it is currently being sold at its normal price." The woman continues to spew her thoughts onto me as I pull out my walkie-talkie and call for my manager. My manager comes over and greets me and the woman. "How can I help you?" "You people must hire some incompetent employees because these prices are wrong." "Do not speak to her in that way." This lady throws around her dress on the rack and stomps around in circles throughout the area to find a new one. She's mumbling under her breath, swearing incoherent nonsense. She picks up another dress marked $14.99 and holds it in front of my face. "Scan it." I scan it and it rings up $12.99. Another incorrect price, although this one is lower than shown. Upon hearing this, she demands a corporate number. My manager is now asking her to leave the store and to stop bothering me, stating that pricing is completely out of our hands and there's no reason for her to be mean to me. "Am I being mean to you?" I'm not going to answer that question. My manager then tells me that I can go ahead to go to another part of the store and hang out for a bit. From what I heard afterwards, the lady found a dress, saying, "I hate it, but purchased it anyway." Daughter looks very distraught the entire time. The joys of retail. While yes, our pricing system and organization was not the best, I had no control over that and was just a clueless 16-year-old when I worked there. It sounds like the pricing was, yes, a little confusing, but if it's still marked to say that this is the normal price on the other side, really it's your job to check clearly which items are marked at the special price and which are normal. It's not unusual to have special prices right next to normal priced items. If the dress was in the wrong location, then yeah, you probably have a case that it should be that price. But if it has its own sign saying it's the normal price, then that one's on you. I used to work at a popular teen girl clothing store. I loved working there, and I was a big fan of the clothing styles even before I worked there. There was one shirt that was very well known from the brand that was popular on the Tumblr blogs and Instagram influencers, and I fell into the hype. The shirt came out a few years ago and is known as the Yellow Honey shirt, a yellow oversized crop t-shirt with honey embroidered in gold thread on the upper left chest. Very basic, but very cute. I bought the shirt before I even started working for the brand, and even wore it to the job interview. Flash forward a couple of months into working for the store. I realized just how popular this shirt is. Even though it came out a few years ago, it is still in production. The whole honey craze even translated into the brand making honey tank tops, hoodies, sweaters, etc. Whenever we'd get a new shipment, it'd be sold out within hours or 2 days, depending on the shipment quantity. We'd get daily inquiries about the shirt. Needless to say, this style is super popular and I got tired of hearing about it and seeing it. I decided to sell my honey shirt because I didn't even feel good about wearing it anymore. There were no flaws except for a small hole on the brand tag where the price tag was attached. I posted it on Facebook Marketplace while I was on my way to the store for a shift. Within a few minutes, someone messaged me about buying it. I arranged to meet up and sell the shirt right before my shift started, and she agreed. I initially asked if she could meet me right at the store, but she said she felt uncomfortable doing that because she didn't want to seem sketchy and be seen by her employees in the store. I knew it didn't matter because I wouldn't care, and neither would my manager. I spent my own money on the item, and what I do with it is my business. Still, I agreed to meet somewhere else close by in the mall because I just wanted this shirt gone, and if it made the person feel more comfortable, that's fine. I grabbed a bag to put the shirt in. It happened to be a bag from the store because I purchased something about a week before, and headed to the meetup location. The bag was a paper bag and had a little rip on the top, but was still fully functional. I thought it was fine because she was buying the shirt, not the bag. The girl was pretty punctual, and the transaction was quick and easy. She walked away and I walked to the store for my shift. This was an opening shift on a Sunday, and there aren't usually many customers at this time. Guess who the first person to come in was? The girl I sold the shirt to. I smiled and said hi, not only to greet her, but also to acknowledge that we'd seen each other literally 5 minutes ago. She looked at me and her expression changed. She then asked me, "Do you have anything burgundy?" I was a little thrown off because I thought she would say something about our interaction that happened minutes ago, or say something about being surprised that I work there or something. Instead, she didn't seem to recognize me. I shrugged it off because maybe she had a bad memory, or maybe it was the lighting that made me look different, and I pointed her towards some burgundy sweaters we had. She left the store and I moved on with my day. I worked as a cashier the next day as well and didn't think about the incident anymore. We got a rush of customers, so instead of one of us being a cashier, 2 of us were. About halfway through my shift, the girl from yesterday is holding the paper bag with the same rip on the top. She came with a friend this time. Initially, she was lining up in front of my colleague's cash, but my line opened up and I was the one to help her. I was really confused when she pulled out the shirt I sold her from the paper bag I gave her with the store receipt. I asked her how I could help her, and her friend said, "Oh, she bought this a few days ago and she just doesn't like it anymore. She wants to return it." I look at the girl with the shirt, and she had a blank expression but wide eyes. I picked up the receipt and it indeed said she had bought a honey shirt 6 days ago. I picked up the shirt and knew it was the one that belonged to me that I bought 3 years ago because of the same exact hole in the brand tag. Our return policy is for 2 weeks for unworn. Tags still on merchandise that you can get store credit or exchanges for. No money returns. In the moment, I was still very confused on how she attained a receipt for the shirt, and then I realized that she probably did buy a shirt from the store, but was trying to return the older used one. I knew it was mine, so I told her that. She didn't respond. I asked if she still had a shirt with the price tag on it, and she said no. This is the one she wanted to return. Her friend likely had no idea what was happening, or if she did, she didn't realize I was the one who sold a shirt to her. Eventually they left and I didn't see the girl for months after. She obviously thinks herself quite clever, basically trying to get away with a new shirt for the price of a secondhand one. Imagine thinking up this plan and you've got it all worked out and you're like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna get this awesome shirt that I like at a really great price. And then this one small flaw in your plan. The person that you bought the secondhand shirt off also happens to be the person that you're now trying to sell it to at the store. It's like literally the one person who can call you out on it is the exact person who's there. This story happened a couple of years ago. At the time, I was working in a store that sold mostly new agey stuff. I didn't and still don't really believe in that stuff, and I don't think my boss did either. Anyway, the money was good and there wasn't a whole lot of work to do on an average day. I also had developed a persona for talking to customers, but that's a story for another time. On this particular day, I was checking stock on some necklaces we sold because I had to order new ones. The necklaces were right next to the entrance, so I got to see the approaching customer in all her glory. The particular customer, let's call her LA for Lance Armstrong, came racing in on her bike, almost knocking over someone on the walkway in the process. You see, LA had ignored the handy bicycle lane and instead had chosen to use the much more crowded walkway. Because our city loves cyclists, The street our store was on had a lot of places specifically designated for parking bikes, one of which was right next to our store. LA chose to ignore these as well, and instead parked her bike perpendicular to our store's entrance, leaving barely enough space for her to get in. I go to her as she was locking her bike. "Excuse me, ma'am, would you mind moving your bike to one of the designated spots? Or at the very least, move it so it doesn't block the entrance? I just need to buy one thing. It won't be there long." Regardless, I'd appreciate if you'd move your bike. It's blocking other customers from coming in. This prompted LA to unlock her bike and get back on. "Fine, if you don't want me as a paying customer, I'll go to New Age store that's closed 4 years ago instead. Good luck." About an hour later, the phone rings. It's LA, but she doesn't recognize my voice. She goes off on a tangent about how one of our staff members barred her from entering the store for no reason whatsoever. "Ma'am, I was the one that requested you moved your bike. I never barred you from our store. I just wanted you to keep the entrance free for other customers." "I want to talk to your boss." "Sure." Hands phone to boss. My boss takes the call, and I continue what I was doing. I had already explained what had happened with LA, and we both had a good laugh over her going to a store that had been gone for 4 years. Afterwards, my boss tells me that LA had made some crazy accusations, none of which she believed or even took serious. When my boss told LA that she didn't believe her, LA cursed at her over the phone and threatened to call corporate. On a privately owned store with only 5 employees. Bosch wished her good luck with that. Now, this is where the story should have ended, but there's more. LA came back to the store 2 days later. I recognized her by her parking her bike in front of the entrance again. This time, with my boss's blessing, I did actually bar her from the store and told her she was more than welcome to come back if she parked her bike in the designated area and if she made an apology to both me and my boss. LA left and I haven't seen her since. She did leave behind a nice review on our Facebook page in which she referred to me specifically as being friendly and very helpful. Just kidding. Her 1-star review was filled with more of her lies and a lot of name calling aimed specifically at me. She even referred to me as the Wicked Witch of the store, and I wore that crap like it was a badge of honor for the rest of my time in the store. At my boss's request, I got to leave a reply on the review, including video footage of her parking her bike in front of the store. There is nothing more divisive in our society than a cyclist. And why do they have such a bad reputation? Because so many of them cause conflict with the rest of society. Now, this isn't to say that all cyclists do it, but you have cyclists that ride onto the road instead of the cycling lane. In this case, park their bike where they're not supposed to. And the worst has to be kids who ride their bike on the wrong side of the road. It's basically the same as if you were driving a car on the wrong side of the road. If somebody's riding their bike in the cycling lane, they're going to crash into you. You're literally riding the wrong way on the road. This was a few years ago, but I remember it as if it happened yesterday. For a bit of background, I work for a tour company, and one of our most popular tours is a Northern Lights tour in the evening. We offer hotel pickups which start 30 minutes prior to the bus terminal departure, and since we're not allowed to drive buses everywhere downtown, we have bus stops allocated for nearby hotels. Even for hotels we pick up at directly, you have to wait by the door since we have too many customers to go inside and look for everyone. Pretty basic system. Be at the hotel door or the bus stop at the pickup time. So I do my work as per usual and book tours and pick up for probably 100 people a day. Some upset or entitled customers about this or that, just a normal work day. I work shifts and the next day I was off work. Less of a normal day since I had a date that evening. A first date. Of course I was nervous and probably spent too much time worrying and getting ready, but whatever. That's how first dates go. We met at a restaurant we had decided on downtown and get a seat by the window. We spend probably like an hour and a half eating and chatting, just having an awkward first date time. Anyways, to the meat of the story. We finish our food, pay and exit the restaurant. The moment we step outside, a woman crosses the street and stops me by actually putting a hand on my arm, still at the restaurant door. "Hi, you work for that tour company, right?" Yeah, I do." "You sold me a ticket for the Northern Lights yesterday, you remember, right?" I did happen to remember this woman because she had been very chatty and stayed a while at the register. One of those, telling you my life story while you book my tour types. "Sorry to bother you, I just happened to see you eating through the window. I'm in the hotel over there," points across the street, "and you booked my pickup for me from here.
and it hasn't arrived yet.
She seemed nice enough, just worried about missing her tour, so I shoot my date an apologetic glance and properly stop to talk to her. Me figuring the pickup is just late. Oh no, it isn't here yet? I check my watch and realize that it's actually time for the tour to start from the bus terminal in like 3 minutes. Even if she jumped in a taxi immediately, she wouldn't catch it. Before I can even open my mouth to say this, she cuts in.
I've been waiting inside the hotel and no bus has come. There's 2 other girls there also waiting, so you have to do something about this.
There's not much I can do.
Well, you work there. I'm sure you can call them and get the pickup to come.
The tour is almost starting.
So call your work and make them pick us up. This isn't very professional, you know.
She's getting increasingly more aggressive, and I'm regretting my life choices to stop and talk to her. I figure it probably isn't a good idea to point out to her that we're in the downtown area, so the bus does not stop outside the hotel, but rather about 100 meters, 300-ish feet, down the street at a bus stop, which I explained when she bought the ticket. Had she been at the hotel door, she'd have seen the bus, and by now I'm 100% sure the pickup came and she missed it because she was waiting inside the hotel. I'm not even working today, so I decide this isn't a problem for me, but my co-workers who are. You should probably call the company, they can help you.
Why don't you call them for me? You can call them directly rather than having to wait for them to pick up.
By the way, our average phone waiting time is usually about 30 seconds to 1 minute, if it's super busy. I don't have any direct number.
You should be able to call them directly. I don't want to have to wait. This isn't professional. I haven't been picked up. You sold me the tour, so you have to make them pick me up.
I'm sorry, I don't have any direct number and I'm a little busy at the moment, glancing towards my date, so I'm afraid you'll have to call them yourself.
I've been waiting for a really long time. I even watched you at the restaurant for an hour waiting for you to finish so I could ask for your help.
Why she didn't call my company during that time, I have no idea.
You have to get them to come pick me up now.
At this point, it's been way more than 3 minutes and the tour has probably left the bus terminal. There's literally nothing I can do and I'm fed up, so I stop being polite. I'm sorry, but I'm not at work right now. You'll have to call the company for someone who is. I'm going to go continue my date that you interrupted. Goodbye. We start walking away and this lady has the audacity to try and follow us, saying I have to help for a few steps. But we just quickly walk off and ignore her. Date very much drifted off after that. I still can't believe this lady stalked me at my date, watching us for an hour through the window just so she could come harass me rather than calling the company when there was actually time to do something. Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.